Okay, on this video, we're going to continue our wall or our wall section. And I forgot one piece of pretty important information here is I forgot I forgot this. Forgot to pour this concrete pier, which would have been poured at the same time as the footing here. So this concrete pier is 36 by 36 by 12. All right, so I'm going to go to rectangle, just grab that line somewhere there, pull out, and I'm going to go 36, tab 12. And I should have went negative 12. So I'll just move that back into place. Okay. Now, in the note, it says that we have number 4 rebar at 8 inches on center each way. All right, so we're going to go in here and I'm going to cheat. I'm going to grab that one right there and I'm going to copy it. And I'm just going to place it right there. And I'm going to highlight that. And I'm going to copy 8 inches. So I'm just going to leave that hanging. I'm going to type in 8, 16, 24. And that will give me 4 pieces there. And then I'm going to grab this little line right here. I'm going to go over here. And then I'm just going to copy that 1/2 inch up. All right, so I'm going to highlight those 2 lines and I'm going to make them hidden, just like that. I need to fill in my rebar, so I'm going to go to hatch, go to solid, inside, inside. Nope, not inside. Sometimes this happens when you move the screen and it's something that's not in the picture, it will tend not to read it. So I'm just going to go up here and I'm going to select, and then that way I can just select the object. And enter. Now I'm going to highlight that hatching because I'm pretty sure that it did not move it to hatch on yours. So just drop down there and make sure that it is hatch indeed. I'm going to go back and just leave that on hatch for just a second while I put in my concrete. Go back to hatch and roll down until you find concrete. Architectural concrete. And then I can also just pick point again or select since I'm already on it. And there we go. There's that. I'm going to change my hatch back to wall. And that's the end of that. We're just going to leave that, let that hang for just a little bit before we start doing anything else, because I'm trying to draw this in order of how it would be done in the field, how it would be built in the field. So we're going to continue this, and we're going to we're going to build the rest of it up, try to get the roof on it before it rains. So what I need to do now is I need to set my posts, my post columns, piers, however you want to call them. So I'm going to go to construction line, right click, go to vertical. I'm going to put that sucker right there in the center of that footing. And then I'm going to go to offset. This is a 4-inch post. So I'm going to offset 2 inches either side. I'm going to highlight this line here and I'm going to trim the bottom of that off. And I'm going to get rid of the center line. So now I've got a post. Of course, it goes forever up through here. So we've got to decide where we're going to cut this off. So one thing that we can do is I'm going to go to construction line again, right click horizontal, and I want my LVL to be equal to this this mud seal here. So I'm just going to place that right there, and I'm going to go over to grab some of my 2x. I'm going to go with a 2x12, and I'm going to place it just like that. Okay, now remember that my rotation is on. If you decide to use insert up here, it may or may not allow this to do, but you can just turn it, just right click and rotate it, put it in place just like that. I'm going to highlight that and I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to place it again and again, just like so. Now I need to center this up. And one way that I can do that is I'm going to trim, I'm going to highlight these two lines here, and I'm going to trim this line out so that when I highlight it, it gives me a center. Okay, so I'm going to highlight these three, right click, move. I'm going to grab the center of these three items right here, and I'm going to slide it over to the center of that one line that I just had there. Just like that. All right. So now I want to trim my post out now that I know how big it's going to be. So I'm going to go to trim, and I'm just going to click right there and right there. And then I'm going to have to just delete the rest of it because it won't, because this is a block, I couldn't highlight the block and then trim that out. It won't allow me to do that. So on the bottom of this, or on the top of the column rather, you're going to have a plate that is a 1/4 inch thick. So I just drew a line there on the bottom of the LVLs, and I'm going to offset that 1/4 inch. Just like so. I'm going to clean this up, and then I'm going to finish this out by adding a couple of lines on either side of the plate. So this is a metal plate that would go on top of the post. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight that, and I'm going to copy it because there's also one at the bottom. So I'm just going to touch this line here and then go to the top. I don't know why I went to the top. I didn't need to go to the top. Duh. Copy. Grab that bottom piece and take it all the way down to the concrete footing. And then trim off the rest of the post. Nice. Okay, so now that we have our LVL or built-up beam or whatever it may be, then we can start framing our floor. So on my drawings over here, I'm going to go over and find. Let's see, what size did I draw there? I don't think I put anything. I think I just called it a 2x because it could change something. We don't know what size it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find my 2x10. So in my filter up here, I'm just going to type 2. And if you don't know how to get this block open, this block section here, go to View, and then just turn your block on right there. And it appears I don't have a 2x10 in there for some reason. I know, because I'm using a different thing that I had over here before. So luckily on my favorites, I do have a 2x10. If you want to know how to save your favorites, and you should save it on your favorites, go to whatever section, whatever block it is you have here, right click on it and then copy to favorites. Okay, so I'm gonna go back over to my favorites. I'm gonna grab my 2x10 right there. And I'm going to, because it's, on this side, I'm just going to place that right there. Then I'm going to have to move it to get it right in place, just like that. Excellent. Something else I forgot. Oh, God, I hate when I do this because it messes up your thought process. We need, yep, we need to offset these two a half an inch. And I'll explain. We have we have this OSB on here, and I didn't offset that. We got that sheathing that's right here. Where is the note? Or 7/8 inch. I always just set it off a half an inch. That one makes it so much easier than 7/16. So we've got that OSB zip system that is going to be right on those studs. So, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to think ahead and I'm not doing it. So I'm gonna grab both of those right there, just highlight both of them, and I'm gonna move them over a half an inch, just like so. All right. We'll come back and put the sheathing on, I promise. All right, so now we have our header. This is a header, and now we're going to lay our joists in, and that's just a line. So I'm just going to click on this point right here, go out, and I'm going to drop that in. I'm going to highlight that line, and I'm going to copy it. Just take it right up here, just like that. Now our joists are laid in. Now I have a layer called deck that just turns it green. So if you want to add that, you most certainly can. And if not, you can just leave it on AWOL or whatever you like. So I'm going to change mine to deck. And the only reason that I do that is obviously I can look up here and say, well, this is a post because it's white, and this is wood because it's green. So that's the only reason I do it. It's no big deal. All right, so let's continue on. We are going to add our subfloor, and our subfloor is going to be 3/4 of an inch OSB. So I'm going to go to offset, and I'm going to type in 0.75, and I'm going to offset that line. Now I'm going to highlight that, and I'm going to just touch that corner, and that way it makes it all the way to the end. Then I can just draw a line to show that the end of that is. All right. I'm going to match my properties of my top line to this line. There we go. Now I need to close this other side. And what I'm going to do, and I haven't showed you guys how to do this yet, I'm going to put a cut line in there, and just like so. So I'll either send you this cut line, or I will show you how to make it uh, in another video. So let me move this up to make it look pretty, just like so. Okay. Now I have this OSB that I need to put some hatching into it. So I'm going to go to hatch, and I'm going to go back up here to this ANSI 31 that we seem to use a lot. Click on that. Go to pick point, give it a minute, and then pick inside that. I know it's kind of hard. I like to have it all in the screen when I go to pick it. That way I can see it. So obviously we're going to have to play with the scale on this. And I'm going to set this for 5. Does that look okay? It's still a bit much. Let's go 10. That looks a little better. Okay, and I'm going to also change this hatching to hatch layer. There. That's not as prominent. Now, what do we do now? We're going to start framing our house or framing the walls. So let's go grab a 2x4 or a 2x6, whichever you decide you want. And sometimes when you're on the favorites and I click on something and I pull into it, and I'm going to try to do it again, it'll pull up this thing, redefine block. You're not actually redefining the actual block, but if you have another block in here, it's saying, is this the same block? So just, yes, redefine the block. Okay, I'm going to set my sole plate down on the top of the subfloor. I'm going to go offset, and I'm going to type in 8 foot 1.5 inches. So that is how tall a wall is going to be if we were using 93-inch studs. Okay, if we're using 105-inch studs, this line would be 9 foot 1.5. So I made a note on that right there. So it's either 8 foot 1.5 or 9 foot 1.5, depending on the height of your stud. Your stud. So studs are cut exactly 93 inches or 105 inches, so that we get either an 8-foot ceiling or a 9-foot ceiling. All right, so I'm going to go to line, and I'm going to just touch right there on there here, and I'm going to go up to the top. And I'm going to highlight this line, and I'm going to copy it to the other side. Now I have my studs. All right, so now I need to put my double top plate on here. So go up here and touch that line, rotate it around, highlight that, copy, and place the second one in. So now I have a double top plate. All right, again, we're in a race to put the roof on. So we're going to continue on. I'm going to place some ceiling joists in here. So I can just highlight that line right there, or offset, yes, offset it, and let's use, oh shoot, let's use 2x8. So I'm going to offset this line 7.25. And I offset that. I'm going to take this line here, and I'm going to continue it, pull it on up to the top of that. I also want to match properties and make my studs wood. So now I can see what's wood and what's masonry and what's metal. Now I got to make a decision here. I need to look at my plans to find out what the angle of the roof is. And for simplicity, I'm just going to tell you it's going to be a 4 and 12 real quick. So here's a real quick and dirty way to get to a 4 and 12 to find out what angle that is. I'm just going to go to line, and I'm going to click and pull over to the side. I'm going to type in 12. Then I'm going to go down, and I'm going to type in, make sure that it's straight up and down. Sometimes that mouse wants to move. Type in 4. Now exit. Now you have something here that you can actually get an angle on it. So let's go to construction line, right click, and you see that I have angle right there. So if I hit angle and I touch this line and that line, look at there. I got my angle. I got my angle. All right. So where do we place this? Technically, it needs to set equal to the inside face of the stud. So this little triangle technically gets cut out of the, I'm telling you wrong. No, I'm telling you right. Because we need to build a knee wall in here so that we can put our insulation in. That's right. That's what I'm forgetting. So let's click on the top 2x, and let's copy that and place that little booger right up there at the top. And then let's extend this line to the top up here like that. So now we have basically a little knee wall on the front of this, and so that allows us to get a little bit more space between our rafter and where our ceiling is going to get set, so we can put more insulation in there. Before, when we built houses, it would set right down on here, and then obviously, you know, if this was, and I'm going to offset this 5.5 inches for a 2x6. So you can see that would be this line here would be the roof line, and then I don't have very much room to put any insulation in here. So that's why we kind of up this game a little bit. There. So make sure that this is, like I say, this is a 2x6, this is a 2x8, and I'm going to cut this or trim this piece out because we would have notched that. This is known as the bird's mouth, where we notch that. I'm going to match properties. I'm going to go down here and grab this wood, and I'm going to make that wood as well. I'm going to make this other one as well because I cut it. It won't change. Now, how much overhang do we have? Don't know. So we need to figure out, talk with the client or make it so or whatever. So I generally do the eaves at 18 inches, and I generally do the gables at 24. So I'm going to go to offset, and I'm just going to type in 18 inches. I'm going to offset this line here, and then I can cut the remainder off like so. Okay, so now what do I want to do now is I want to put my roof on. So I need to figure out what size my roof sheathing is going to be. This case, I'm going to say 5/8 to save money. No, I'm not, because I can't find a tongue and groove around here that's 5/8. So I'm going to go 3/4. We definitely want a tongue and groove OSB on our roof. Okay, so I'm going to extend this line here by hitting trim and pressing shift. And as you see, this thing goes forever. I'm going to go over here to my blocks again. I'm going to grab another cut line, and I'm just going to place it somewhere in the center here. All right, I'm going to highlight. Whoop, didn't. I know what I did. I hit escape instead of enter. Remember I told you sometimes you hit escape and it does one thing, you do a enter and it'll do another. So if I hit escape, that thing's going to disappear. So I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to highlight that cut line, and I'm going to go to scale. I'm going to grab it right dead center, and I'm going to scale that bugger up so that it cuts both the ceiling and the roof there. So I'm going to cut those out, or trim those out, sorry. Now that I have that. So again, I need to put my sheathing hatching in. So I'm going to go to hatch, Old Faithful there, ANSI 31. And I'm going to click right in the center of that, just like that. Now I can also match my properties on hatching too. So I'm going to go match properties. I'm going to roll right down here to the bottom, and I'm going to click on that hatch, and I'm going to go right up here and drop it right in place. So now it's the same hatching that I have here. All right, I've got my sheathing on. It's going to rain. We got to get going. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put on my fascia boards, because my fascia boards will go all the way to the top. So a good easy way to do that is to go to rectangle and just pull over to the side. Your first number is going to be 0.75 for 3/4 inch. And then you're going to tab and you're going to put in, let's use a 1/10. See if that works. 9.25. Okay, so I'm going to copy that. I'm going to highlight that and move it. I'm just going to drop that down right there. And yes, it does come down, so I can use that. I'm going to extend this top line, and I'm going to have to move my 1x down to this point here so that I have a nice smooth transition on it. If you guys want to know why we pull this down, I invite you to go out and look at that one of those little buildings out there, because it was not pulled down. It was not trimmed off. And, the shingles come down and they just kind of do this number. So let's add one more to this. And I'm going to start again with another rectangle. I'm going to go 0.75, and then I'm going to go 5.5. This will be a 1/6. Again, I'm going to highlight that, and I'm going to move it, put it right there. And again, I'm going to extend that line, and then I'll have to move this down again. And of course, the dogs are going to bark. All right. So the only thing that I've got to do now is to offset my top to for my shingles or metal or whatever it be is up there. So I'm just going to click on that. I'm going to click on offset, and I'm going to put it in as 0.25. All I like to do is just kind of make it put those two lines together, and they will come out they will print as a dark line. All right, so we have our framing in, and this will be the end of this video, and I will start another one where we do some of our finishes, inside finishes and outside finishes.